well is to put it on New York Heritage eventually. But
Excellent.
also, we have a lot of our chats and oral histories on YouTube, so it would be there as well. And possibly, Jean, on our site as well, or, yeah, and we also
Good.
have a forum. Do you know that we have a forum called Long Beach Historical Society Forum on Facebook? Right.
Yeah,
where-
no, I don't. I didn't know
But
that.
maybe your daughters would
Yeah, they
show
would
it
know.
to you.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people that are interested in Long Beach history and share pictures they have or family
Great.
history. So if it's possible, we would like to probably put it on there too,
Great.
okay? And we can always give it to you initially to review once it's edited
Oh, I
to
don't
make
think
sure.
I don't think I have to.
Oh, okay, all right.
Check
Alright.
that you get a percentage when
Yeah,
it goes
I was
to
gonna
Netflix.
say.
When it goes to Netflix.
Right.
Okay, and did you want to state your names too, your daughter's names?
I'm Deb Brush, Marion's daughter.
And I'm Marion Brush Crane, Marion's first daughter.
First.
Thank you.
And the interview committee is made up of our collections committee. We work here every Tuesday trying to
Oh.
take good care of all the historical
Great.
information for Long Beach. My name is Joanne Belli,
I'm Phyllis Ginsburg.
I'm Kathy Leesmore.
and of course we have our,
Right, the president, right?
who will also be somebody we're going to interview because she has a life history here.
Oh,
in Long
absolutely. Wow.
And am I to understand that both daughters grew up here?
Yes.
Yes.
So feel free to chime in for any.
They went to Long Beach Catholic and some went to West School. I went to West School.
Okay. Oh, you went to West School.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought, I understood that you came here as a bride.
Oh, no. I was 10.
Oh,
great.
Okay, because we just revised our questions based on the fact that we were just told that you came here.
I was wrong, Marion.
No, I came here from Brooklyn at 10.
Great.
Okay, and what was the year that would be? You don't mind?
1936.
1936,
Mm.
okay. Do you remember what your address was in Long Beach?
Mm-hmm. 74 Nevada.
Okay, is that the West End?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the last or the first street in Long Beach. Malone, which was behind there, was Atlantic Beach.
Okay, right.
Can you describe your house?
Yes, the typical Long Beach stucco house, 3-bedroom, 1-family house. But it was typical Long Beach in West End.
And you came as a full-time resident, not just the summer?
Yeah, we rented the house.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn in 26.
Okay. And the names of your family members, other than your daughters?
Oh, my mom, you mean? Like Marion Costa is my grandma. Anna Capicella worked in Petrie's Meat Market all of her life down on Beach Street next to O'Rourke's.
And Lily.
And my mother lived in Brooklyn. I lived with my aunt and my grandma.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood in Long Beach?
My childhood in Long Beach was wonderful. It was so fun, and I know when they told me in Brooklyn, you're going to move to Long Beach, and I had come to Long Beach and stayed with some friends of my aunt on Virginia Avenue who were the Carroll family.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Bob Carroll?
huh?
Bob
Yes,
Carroll?
Bob Carroll's mom. I stayed with them on weekends just for fun, and my aunt who worked in Petrie's Meat Market would bring me, and I would stay with them for the weekend, and it was the most wonderful time. I couldn't wait to get here. It was just, I can't say anything except wonderful about my childhood in Long Beach.
So what did you do on a typical day when you were 10 or 11 years old in Long Beach?
Yeah, I went to West School, and then in the summer we just went to the beach, played outside. Kids played outside then, you know.
I know. I was one of them. I am the last
Even my girls
generation,
played
maybe.
outside, and I just, it was so a happy time, and going to the ocean was a wonderful time, and just going to West School was a I can't think of anything. People go, how could it all be wonderful? I said, well, when you're 10, it's wonderful.
Can I ask you about the beach? Were there lifeguards on the beach when you
Yes.
went?
There were lifeguards, but we were allowed, all the families, at 10 or 11, we went to the ocean alone. We didn't go we didn't have to have a parent.
Wow.
And which sounds, but I'll tell you, it wasn't a safe thing because I went with I had a friend on Virginia Avenue who became my sister-in-law, in fact.
Oh.
And we were turned over by the waves many times and I think almost drowned. But my family, my aunt, my grandma never said, be careful, never said, don't do this, don't do that. We just went to the ocean, went in as deep as we wanted, and how we're alive, sometimes I don't know, because we got tumbled and,
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't equipped to be in an ocean
Right.
at 10.
I know.
But most families, it wasn't only mine, you went to the ocean by yourself, or the bay.
You didn't learn anything about parenting because you also allowed us to go to the beach by ourselves.
We never.
Yes, I didn't remember, I thought I was wonderful, but I let them go too. So.
Did it cost money to go to the beach then, or it
No,
was free?
no money.
Wow.
No little boots or anything. You just went
And
to.
how did you spend the winter day? Because you were a full-time resident here, right?
Yes. I spent the winter going to school, West School, and I had many friends to play with here, and we went to the movies, to the West End movies, which was 10 cents to go to, and you could stay in there all day, which we did. You could stay repeatedly, show after show after show, and nobody wanted you to come back home early so you could stay all day. Like I would too, I wouldn't want them home early. But it was right on the corner of, around Minnesota Avenue there, and it was 10 cents, I remember that. And we went, I went to things that the town would handle, things for kids to do, things for, just fun things. Everything was for the kids, and we used to have the orphans come to Long Beach on a bus. And the big day there was to stand on the sidewalk and wave to the buses. So that was a very big operation in my day when the orphans were coming to get out there and wave to the buses. Then they'd let them off and they were treated like royalty. It was really wonderful.
And were Long Beach children allowed to participate in it, or you just watched it all
We
happen?
just watched it. They didn't participate. It was strictly for the orphans, but it was a happy time, and I remember looking forward to just when the buses came. It was exciting, and you waved, and they treated them like royalty. It was just great. And then we just played outside as children. We biked and we put on those fake shows that you did, you put a curtain up in the alley and you had a play or whatever. But mainly we went to the beach.
Do you remember any of your grade school teachers or high school
I do.
teachers?
Miss Marion was my teacher, and I think Jeannie had her too, right?
I did.
You had Miss Marion?
In kindergarten in West School.
Yeah, in West School. And Mrs. Morris, who was very strict, I remember her. And there were a few others I remember. I can't recall them right now, but I remember my whole going to, I know that when we moved here, my grandmother wanted to walk me to West School from Nevada Avenue. So I objected to that. I didn't want her walking me. So I screamed and hollered about it. But what she did was she followed me back and behind. And I kept yelling back, Grandma, please go home. But she didn't go home. She followed me all the way to West School. I don't know what she thought was going to happen to me, but I got to West School and I said I was angry with her and I didn't want to talk to her because I didn't want the kids to make fun of me you know, as a 10-year-old walking, my grandmother walking me. But I remember that first day and the way you got dressed with little puff sleeve dresses, which my grandmother had starched, so they stood up. I mean, that's the way you went to school. And Mary Jane's and socks, and you dressed like you were going to a party. So it was really a great time, except for her walking me.
Where was the library when you grew up? Did you use the
It was
library?
that, yes. We had one in school, a little one, and then down in the East End, where it probably maybe still is.
Oh,
But it was down there, and but we had enough. Place in school as a library to use.
nice.
You know.
Nice. Very nice.
We have many photos in our archives about West School, and I believe locally there's going to be some kind of celebration. Is it the 100th year
Really?
of West School? So somehow we have to connect you to them, because you're certainly
A pioneer.
Well,
best information and a pioneer. And
Anyone that you talk to will say it was wonderful. I mean, it was just different than today. It was personalized, where you got to know the teachers really well, and they knew you, and they helped you. I felt that it was always like you're part of your family. They were there for you, you know. So to me, it was just, I pass it now, and I get the memories come back. I love it.
It's
I mean,
beautiful.
I love it to pass it.
On one of our oral histories that we listened to recently, one of the people talked about their relationship with the teachers, saying that the teachers would come home to lunch with you. Did that ever happen to you?
No, they never came home to lunch, but they became your friend. You could go to them for a problem, if you had a personal problem or anything. They would help you. They were great teachers, wonderful teachers. And I had, I had a good education at West School. I really did. And I just have nothing but good memories about those women that, even though some were, like Miss Marion was never strict. I mean, she was just a friend, but some of the teachers were strict, but they wanted you to do well. So, they wanted your homework done, and you couldn't get away with anything like you do today, I mean, they wanted you to do well in school.
So you went to West School from 1936 till you graduated, and then you went on which school?
Long Beach High School.
Can you tell us
Down
a little bit
on
about your high school years?
I met my husband in high school, so they were wonderful. I mean, I was 13 years old, and I went home and I said, I'm going to marry the guy that I just met. There was on Minnesota Avenue, there was I don't know what you'd call it, Becker's, which was had an ice cream parlor inside there, and little booths, and they had the recording, like the record player that you'd put a nickel in, and jukebox, you put a nickel in, you got the music. So we all hung out there. And I met my husband there because I lost a glove. Believe it or not, this sounds like a movie, but I lost a glove there. And he asked somebody who it belonged to, and that's how I met him.
Nice.
And I was 13, and I knew I was going to marry him. And he was about 15, an older man.
And what's his first name?
George Brush. And they were a well-known family. They were one of the first settlers in Long Beach. His dad owned a hardware store before Frank O'Rourke. So, but his dad got very, very ill and died, and otherwise we would have been the O'Rourkes of the West End. So, from then on, I just, I dated him at 13, and we did a lot of wonderful things. And we went into New York, even to the Paramount and to the big theaters, and for $1.25 you saw Frank Sinatra and a movie.
Wow.
One time I followed Frank Sinatra with a friend, because you could stand outside at the stage door and look for the actors. So they don't allow that anymore, but we followed Frank Sinatra down Broadway. And we looked at each other and we said, would you like to kiss him? I said no, because he had acne. So we decided we did not want to kiss him. But the girls in the Paramount Theater, most of them fainted when he came on. They all dropped. So we looked at each other, we said, how come we're not fainting? Well, they got paid $5 to faint. So we didn't get the $5 and we didn't know it and we didn't faint. But very interesting. He never knew we followed him.
And how did you get to the city? Did you take the Long Island
Yes.
Railroad? Can you tell us about the railroad then?
The railroad was, I hate to say it, everything was great to me. But I never had a problem taking the train. I love the train. I love New York City. I love going there. I loved everything about it. It was just a great experience, and we didn't have a car. When I lived here with my family, we didn't have a car or a telephone originally. Then we got a party line phone, and then we'd have the other party on the line. But we learned that as a child, if you wanted a line right away, you go, emergency, emergency. And then they caught on, they'd go, it isn't an emergency, hang up. But that's how we got to use the phone right away. But it was fun. It was going to New York, and still I get very excited about going to New York. We're going to go to a play this week. And
What are you going to see?
we're going to see Izzy, what was it?
Call me Izzy.
Call Me Izzy.
Oh.
It's with, what's her
Jean
name? Jean
Smart.
Smart,
From
who's a good actress. And
Designing Women.
yeah, so we're going to go to that, and I can't wait.
Taking the Long Island Railroad?
I don't know, I didn't ask them when
We
we're
are.
going.
Has the station changed since when you and Dad used
No.
to go? No, not at all.
I mean, it changed in a way. They have more trains coming in there. We had two sides, coming and going. So it was not as big as it is now. But the inner railroad station is the same. Where you buy your ticket, that's the same.
Do you remember what
So-
it costs to go
Huh?
on the railroad then?
I know that to get I worked in New York after my husband was drafted and went into World War II. I paid $3.25 a week for the weekly ticket. That's how much it was. I can imagine that. I don't know. Although I've taken it, I think it's only like maybe $15. I don't know how much it is now.
Well, I think it's probably $7 or $8 for a senior one way.
Oh, that's not much.
Yeah, but that's one day.
One day. No, this was $3.25 for a week. And then the conductor would punch your ticket for the week, and then it ended.
Right.
Then the next, for going to work,
And what year would that have been?
well, I would have been 18, 19, and 20. That would have been in the 40s.
So that was during the
During
war.
the war. See, he got drafted, so he was,
So when did you get married?
I got married in 1944. I was 18.
Okay, and that
So
was
then
during-
I went to work in New York City, which I loved, which I wish I was. Now when I go into the city, I go to where I used to work, to the building. So sometimes I talk to the elevator operator who's like 20. And I go, and he knows nothing about what I'm saying because he wasn't even born. But I go, can I go upstairs? I go up and I just stand in front of my door up there on the 7th floor. 57th and Madison was the address. I used to eat lunch in Schrafft's.
Oh, yes.
Every day of my life I had ham salad. But that's where my restaurant was. So, but I love New York. I love working in New York. I love my job. It sounds stupid because I loved everything about life here or in New York. And
Well, you were 20. That's
I was
happens
20
when you're
and
20.
yeah, and I used to stay over and go to shows with the girls from my office, and we used to travel. I'd stay after work and we'd go to dinner, but we stayed there to go to a show, whatever. But I wouldn't get home until maybe midnight. But I wasn't afraid to go on the subway. I went on the subway by myself, and my family didn't object to my getting home that late because everybody did that. You had no fear of anyone bothering you or hurting you, or you didn't have to be. I mean, you took the subway. I took the subway, and I would still today take the subway and have no fear about anything. But that's a stupid thing because it's not the same, you know? I mean, you don't know
But you're a New Yorker. I feel the
No, but
same way.
I know, and I say that in Buffalo, where I live now, I say to them, they go, Marion, you're not a New Yorker anymore. I go, I'll never stop being a New Yorker, never.
Can we go back a little bit to when you moved here? It was the Depression, right?
No, it was right after that, so I didn't hit the Depression. The Depression was the early 30s, so I never realized anything different. I mean, I was raised by an aunt and a grandmother. My aunt had no children, and I lived a very good life, being very spoiled, and just with those two ladies who just treated me like royalty, and so I had a very happy childhood.
How about your memories of World War II and how it affected Long Beach?
Because if you went into the city and you got off at Penn Station, you would see all the men in uniform, Coast Guard, Marines, the Navy, the Army, and because most of the guys were in the service. And the women, it was mainly women. So it was a different picture. At Grand Central Station in particular was filled with service people, filled. And the women were all home and doing men's jobs, not too much physical, but in the offices and things. But it was a different look to the world at that time.
And how about here on the island with Lido being a discharge center? Were there a lot of Navy men here?
Yes, there were. Not as big as in New York City, but yes, it was a world like that with fellas who were in the service, and I didn't know too much about Lido, the Lido end of it, because I didn't get down that way too much, you know.
And any service organizations geared to helping out servicemen that were here in Long Beach that you're aware of?
No, I'm not too, I think that came later.
Didn't me and Pat meet
Uncle Art.
Uncle Art at one of those?
You know, I don't remember where she met him. My brother-in-law was in the Navy, and I don't remember.
But
Wouldn't
the-
she just meet him because Dad was dating Mom?
I thought they were like a USO.
There was a USO that was located in what's now the Parish Hall of St. Mary's, and actually that structure was built to house the USO with the understanding that it would revert back to the church eventually.
I don't remember that connection. But I didn't get out of the West End, you know, to get to the East End or that kind of thing too often. But I don't remember. Probably that came later. After, you know, the fellas got home, they could go. I'm sure they had organizations to help them.
And did you have any victory gardens here or notice any victory gardens?
People did. I'm not a person that likes planting or or things like that. I'm not a homemaker type of a woman, and the girls will tell you that.
Now you tell
I'm not a good cook. I'm not a good cook. I never was a good cook, but they ate regularly.
Well,
But
then did you
I
go to a
don't know
lot of
how
the
good it was, but
Did you go to a lot of the restaurants locally?
no,
No.
I cooked. Because in those days, the men had to have meat, potatoes, and a vegetable for dinner, and a big breakfast, like even with grits. Oh God, I hate to think about it. But I didn't like cooking or cleaning. I didn't like any of that. And I said to my husband, "Is this what it's all about?" And he said, "Yes." What did you think? I said, "Well, I thought it was going to be like the movies, but I'm disappointed. It was just work." And then once you had the children, I didn't like that lifestyle. I just didn't like it. But I did it, and they survived. See how they survived?
They look good.
They were very healthy and nice people. They don't steal, they didn't murder or anything. And
That's because we
But
got
I-
our friends in West End, and we
So
can get our
angels.
moral guidance.
Can you tell us about your wedding? Were you married here in
I was
Long Beach?
married in St. Ignatius. We had 11 people in the church. I didn't have a big wedding. My husband got drafted, and it was very, very quick. And I wore a suit, a regular suit. And my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, who, my best friend married my husband's brother. So they were our best man and gal. And my aunt was there, and not a big family. My mom was in Brooklyn, remarried with a child, and they didn't even have a car or a phone. So it was just very small, but Father Cass married me, and we were up on the altar, I know that. And
That was 1944.
44. And then we went on the Long Island Railroad. We didn't have a car. And we went into New York City. We didn't have a reservation for a room. So New York was filled with service people and whatever. But my husband had to get on the phone and call hotels, which he did. So we got a hotel. And then that was $5 a night. So it wasn't a cream of the crop hotel. I didn't care though. So then we stayed there 5 days, went to shows, went to dinner, and everything. And then in 5 days he left for overseas, and then he was gone about 2.5 years. And then I got a job in New York, and I worked there till he came home. So then he came home, and he said, "Oh, you gotta quit your job now." I said, "Oh, I don't think so. I love my job, I'm not quitting it." He said, "Women don't work." That's what he said. I said, "I wonder what I was doing for 3 years." But men felt that if you didn't support your wife, you weren't a man. So of course, I had to quit my job. You start a family, so that's how that happened.
And did you live in a different home in Long Beach?
I lived in the Weidler building when he came home, in a little apartment in there on Florida Street. But I had grown up we had lived in an apartment on a different floor there when I was in high school. So there was an empty apartment, so we took that. We paid $40 a month rent.
And then how long did you stay there?
We stayed there till Millie was about 2. Debbie was younger, and we bought the house on Minnesota, and I remember that I had put in. They used to call it. They took money out of your salary, and you put that aside. So that's what I did. And when he came home, I had $1,000, which was
From the woman who didn't work.
for a fortune. It was a fortune. So I remember we were walking down Beach Street with a check for $1,000. There was a check made out for the house deposit. My husband and I said, my God, we have $1,000 in our hand. That was like $1 million. So we walked to the agency and paid the down payment.
How much,
And
may I
bought
ask
70.
how much the house was?
Huh?
How much did the house cost?
The house was $16,000, I think. It was a great house, and they were happy there.
What was the address, Marion?
70
70
Minnesota. Albert King lives there now. Bobby died last winter.
Lives across the street.
Across the street. And they had bought the lot next door. So now when I go to visit her, she says, sit down, I want to tell you how much your house is worth. I said, I don't want to hear it, please. But hers is worth $1 million, because she bought the lot next door. And we were very happy there. We had wonderful neighbors, and Mimi has friends that she's going to meet now that live on our street, and Debbie too. And so they kept the connection there that they've always had since we left, right?
Yeah, really.
Since we left, they have it.
And how long did you live in that house in Minnesota?
When we moved, what year was
I
it?
was
Like
16.
14 years, maybe 14 years.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And did you move to another home in Long Beach?
No. My husband got a new job. Actually, we went to Wethersfield, Connecticut first and lived there for 1 year. And Mimi was, when we moved, Mimi was a senior in high school, which was a terrible thing. So they were all crying. We didn't want to leave, but my husband said, I'm not punishing you. You have to leave if you want to eat. If you don't want to eat, you can stay here. So you didn't have a choice. And we went to Wethersfield, Connecticut, and we got there, and then he was a salesman on the road, and then his territory was canceled, and then he got a new job in Buffalo, New York, where I am now.
Marion,
So
who did he work for?
He was a salesman, but he sold for Westinghouse and that kind of a company, appliances, not appliances, but I have coffee makers that were his samples and that type of thing, and he traveled upper New York State. So he would be gone maybe for the week and then home on Thursday and that type of thing.
So what was the year that you left Long Beach? You were a senior in high school, right?
Yeah, so I don't know,
What would that be?
65-ish.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
65.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you ladies feel about the move?
I think when we first left, we were not on board, because it was high school and we were leaving. But once we got there, the neighborhood was great, the kids were great. There was a big change. I don't know, this probably means something to you, but when we left Long Beach, there was a certain style of clothes that people wore. When we got to Connecticut and New England, they were all kind of preppy types. So Miss Jeannie and my friends who came to visit there started to like some of those Madras shirts, and so they came back. And so I think you guys liked visiting, and we made friends and were fine there. And then Dad got transferred again.
So would you describe Long Beach then as more laid back than a lot of
Oh,
other?
yeah. I mean, it was t-shirts and cutoffs.
It
And
was
then we
kinda
go
like those
and
pointy-
people have matching outfits and
Right,
skirts.
Papagallo and
Yeah, sweater sets and papagallo shoes, and it was a culture shock at first.
And do you ladies still live in Connecticut, or you live
No.
in Long
I
Beach?
live in Boston. She lives in
I'm in Buffalo right now.
Oh, okay. So you're all visiting here.
Yeah.
We come back with Mom once a year, And then all of us, we have a big group of friends that get
She
together.
still has all of her high school buddies.
Well, these are
Grammar school buddies.
Grammar school buddies.
Long
Right.
She
Beach
still
School.
keeps in touch with all of them, and Debbie too, and it's such a great thing. And I did too. I mean, I kept in touch with my neighbors from here, and you know, who they've passed on now, but I kept in touch with everyone. I'm good at keeping in touch with people I love and places I've been, and I keep in touch. People I work with from, they're gone now, but I kept in touch with all of them. I want that connection. I don't want to lose that connection of my city. So I always did keep friends with all of them, and tried that. They visited me here in Long Beach with the girls I worked with from New York. They would all come, and then when they had children, they'd bring their children. It was, some people don't want to keep a connection, but I do like going back in time. So that's why I'm.
When you look at the West End now, does it look the same?
Beach Street, yes, I think so. I don't like the raised houses. I mean, it doesn't look like Long Beach to me, but
Our house is still the same.
our house is identical.
Except for the gnomes.
Oh, they have gnomes. They have gnomes on the stoop, so she doesn't like
The
that.
people who bought it from us a million
Still
years
there.
ago are the same people.
They're still there, and sometimes, if we're lucky, right, she lets us go in and go through it.
Oh.
And then they say, "Oh, it's so small. The bedrooms are so small." I said, "Well, you were very small too, you know." But it's a trip back in time for me now, and I love going back in time. You know,
Did you have any hurricanes when you were
Oh, yes, I
visiting?
had
Can you give
hurricanes.
us an idea about
yeah, I was here during a hurricane, I remember, and a guy was coming down Minnesota in a rowboat or whatever, paddling. So I thought, I think I'm in danger. So my husband was on the road, and he said, "How are things there?" I said, "Well, there was a guy just paddling down the street." I said, "I don't think it's so good." Oh, he said, "You'll be fine." That's what he said. And I was fine. But I had a basement that got flooded, you know, and the garage, which was those under the house garages, that got flooded. But everyone helped each other, and you didn't make such a big deal about it, you know.
There was no FEMA or anything like
Yeah.
No,
that.
I
There was
don't.
none
I
of
don't
that.
remember anything like that. I'm sure we had house insurance. You know, I'm sure people did buy house insurance.
Mhm.
I don't remember how they helped us money-wise with anything at that time, but it wasn't FEMA or anything like that.
No, they didn't have
You know, it
those.
wasn't a state or whatever organization. It was just, I think, your own house insurance.
Right.
Was there a difference that you noticed between when you went to school as a child here in Long Beach and when your daughters went to school as children? Did you notice anything different with the schools, the education, the expectations?
Not very much.
Okay.
No, right?
But, well, I think it changed only because we all went to the opening of Long Beach Catholic School. So we went.
Oh, they switched over, right, they switched over to Long Beach Catholic.
So we had lots of nuns, I mean, it was just different
It was
from public
it was
school.
different, but it was I would say Long Beach Catholic gave them a great education,
Good foundation.
a very good foundation, and but they did switch over to Long Beach Catholic.
In spite of the fact that we had 48 and 50 in a class.
In the class. I have
I
a
don't.
picture.
But when the nun said,
Do.
"Quiet, sit down,"
Click, 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 click.
yeah, click, 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 and then they could hit you over. They could hit you with the pointer.
They could hit you, they could make you kneel in the hallway for a few hours.
It was very strict.
So you ladies never participated in the public school system in Long Beach?
I went to West for a few years until Long Beach Catholic opened, which we
Second.
went
Second grade for us.
for us.
But was great. Long Beach Catholic was great. I mean, they were strict, and I'm sure they liked West School better that way, but the nuns there were also very helpful and good education. No horsing around, no, I mean, whatever they said, you did.
Right.
Because otherwise they might hit you with the pointer.
It was
Do you
fear.
remember anything about Long Beach politics in all the years that you lived here?
Yeah, not too much. It wasn't like today. We didn't talk politics very much. I mean, I knew the head people's names that would be heading Long Beach. You know, we didn't go to meetings. We didn't participate in the system like they do today, or we weren't as knowledgeable of what was going on. We were more content. We had more faith in the people that ran our government. I can't imagine anything like what goes on today at all, but we really knew we had a good government. We knew we were happy. Yes, you could complain, you know, and I think they would try to help you, but it was nothing like today.
Did you ever hear any talk from locals about Senator Reynolds, who was the founder of Long Beach?
No, nothing, you know, bad. I knew who he was, and I knew the Brushes came here in around 1923. They were from New Jersey. And as I say, my husband's dad opened a hardware store, but he got very ill then and died, and then the family didn't have any money, and it was a really bad time for them. He had two brothers, and my husband had to quit high school and get a job. And they lived at 77 Delaware Avenue. It's a little bungalow, tiny little bungalow.
Now, I think you were here at the time when Mayor Edwards was
Yes,
killed.
when he got
Was
shot.
there any insights that you could give us on that locally?
No, it was a big shock. I mean, I didn't follow politics, but when a policeman shot him, he had a grudge against him for something. And it was a big shock, I think, for us to hear that the mayor got shot walking out of his house or whatever. But we didn't have, like today you have so much knowledge about your politicians. We just knew he was the mayor. You know, we didn't know of anything at all. But it was a shock when we heard that.
What would you say are the biggest changes that you notice in Long Beach over the years?
Well, I think after the flood, the biggest change to me is the look of it. I don't like the look of it. It doesn't look like Long Beach to me with the high houses. I mean, it's a great thing that they did, and I think FEMA helped them do that, and you had to do that to get help. So it had to be done, but that Long Beach look is not there.
Yeah.
I mean, which I'm sad about, but I mean, I'm familiar with that. So, you know, people go, oh, for crying out loud. So the house is high, so what? But it means a lot to me because I look around and I go, although my house is identical, which I'm happy that it didn't have to be.
One thing that impressed me was when we lived on Minnesota, so it had a main floor, which was above they call it basement, but it was above ground, the lower level. And every year, they would switch. We would live upstairs or downstairs so that we could rent out the upstairs, right?
Yes.
And they would move everything, my parents, from one floor to the other and switch lives. And they did that to rent it out and cash in.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to make the money, and but we did move completely, really, right?
That was common practice.
That was common
Many
practice.
people did
It wasn't just me.
No.
Everybody wanted to make the money, and we didn't mind doing what we did because we knew we were gonna get
Some
flooded,
people
you know?
went out on the island, like to Southport and
Yeah.
and places like that, because it was dirt cheap out there, and they stayed there in little shacks and rented their houses here.
Yes,
Yeah,
you know, in those days, people didn't have a lot of money.
right.
You know, like today, I mean, what, of course, everything is relative. What they earn is relative, you know, it's a different world.
Mhm.
But we didn't have the extra money or backup money. So we took every advantage to make some money.
Mhm. The people in the East End all did that, because my husband's family used to do
Yeah,
that.
did
And
they do that? Move
yes, 7 people would
You
move
can't
into the
believe that you could
basement
do it.
and to rent the
Yes.
upstairs. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can't believe that you could do it,
Right.
and that you
And-
want to do it, you
Right,
know?
and like they said, living was easy. You had shorts and a top, and you know, you didn't have much
Well,
else.
you weren't, yeah, like when I was going to work, you would dress.
Oh,
I
yeah.
say to some people that I know in Buffalo, I go, when we went to work in New York, we looked like Joan Crawford, the movie star. We had beautiful suits. I had a big pompadour this high, and a lot of makeup.
Mhm.
I wore Max Factor makeup, tan number 2. I'll never forget it. It was so thick and so heavy. I wondered how I could walk. Then I was on the train one day. I had a flower in my hair. Sometimes we had that kind of a style, a fake flower.
Mhm.
So a man said, "Oh, you look Hawaiian." So I went home and I wanted to wear a flower every day. My folks said, "That's not for work. You shouldn't wear a fake flower for work in New York. It's not. It just isn't done." I said, "Well, the man said I looked Hawaiian, and I like that." So, but my folks said, "No, that doesn't work. I mean, you shouldn't wear a fake flower." So, but I do remember that, and
You wore high heels.
oh, big spikes we worked in. We looked like a movie star. I mean, we dressed beautiful clothing, but of course shoes were $5. Ansonia shoes were $5. The leather
And how
shoes.
much was your salary?
My salary was $20 a week. But you know, I had money to spend, but I didn't pay any dues at home. You know, I didn't pay any rent, or I didn't help them at all. I just had the $20. That was mine.
That's why you were able to save money.
Yes.
Yes. So I bought, when everything was not what you think, the Subway was a nickel. You bought an ice cream cone for a nickel. A phone call was a nickel. The bus was a dime. So out of $20, people go, "How could you live on $20? What, blah, 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 blah." I said, "Because everything was a nickel.
And
A hot dog was a nickel.
how did you get to the railroad station in Long Beach?
On bus. It was a dime. I took the bus every day, right on the corner of Beach Street in Florida. I mean, the bus came on Georgia. But travel, and when I got to New York, I had to take the subway down uptown. So that was a nickel.
I want to fast forward to the 60s, because you were here till about 65, you said. So that was a big cultural shift. Vietnam War, Martin Luther King came to Long Beach, civil rights. Do you remember any of those events impacting you?
No.
No.
We must have left
think
before
we
Martin
We must
Luther
have left
King, 'cause
right before then, because when I got to Buffalo, I was pregnant at 40. So I was 40 then. And I said, I know I was pregnant then.
Well, would you remember what year was Laura born?
Laura was born in 66.
So 66 we were gone.
Yeah, we were
It's
gone.
gone for a couple of years.
So I don't think we were
Must have been
around
So
as
here
that.
for Kennedy's assassination.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask.
63 was Kennedy.
Right.
I was in Long Beach then,
Okay.
because Wendy, my one daughter, was about 7 something, and she was in the barber
Top hat.
on, what was his name?
Top hat. John.
Top Hat, John the barber.
John
She was
Bushanti.
getting her, she
He was
getting her
Roberta
bangs cut.
Fiore's.
Yes, she was getting
uncle.
her bangs cut, and I was sitting in there waiting for her, and I heard talk outside, and everyone, we found out Kennedy was shot and dead.
Mhm.
And the whole Beach Street was filled with people crying and just turmoil.
Mhm.
And but that's how I remember where I was, because it was John the barber.
Mhm.
And everyone, I mean, we couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But that was, so when I got to Buffalo, I was pregnant, and I was 40, and we had rented a place there. We were in there for, I think, 2 weeks, and the guy goes, "Oh, I'm selling the house now, you'll have to move."
And
But he said, "My brother has another," we rented there, "My brother has another place, like down the road," which Deborah pushed the baby carriage right down the road to the other place. But
You were pregnant, 40 in Buffalo. That sounds
It was
like a
an
dark
awful
night.
time.
I was not,
Name of a horror film.
I was
Right.
not a happy camper at
No,
all.
no.
But, you know, my life turned out very, very well, because I ended up working at the University at Buffalo for 30 years as a secretary, and met wonderful people, and I had good friends who I still see.
I was going to say, you worked until 5 years ago?
I took
Retired
I took the civil service test at 75. So they said to me, "Oh, for crying out loud, who's going to hire you?" I said, "If I pass the test, why not?" So I took the test, and they had to interview 3 people that got the same mark. So they interviewed the people, and I got a call that I got the job. So I called everybody that said blah, blah, blah. I said, "You know what? I got the job." So I have people now, and that remember that, and they're not afraid. I wrote a little article which they printed in the paper, and I told everyone that age never to be afraid to take the test. And so I asked my boss one time, "How come you hired me at 75 instead of a 20-year-old gorgeous girl?" He said, "Well, do you remember what you said to me when you left?" I said, "No." He said, "You said, 'I'm yours to command.'"
And you set back women's living.
So he looked at me, he said, "Would you hire somebody that said that?" I said, "Yes." He said, "So did I." And I was there for 30 years. But it was, taking the test was the best thing I ever did. And then I made such good friends, and my job was a wonderful job.
Did you work
It
in
was-
an academic department?
Pardon me?
Did you work in an academic department?
Yeah, but, I worked for architecture.
Oh, that's interesting. I worked at NYU, and that was.
You
great.
did?
Yeah, great environment, I know what you mean.
I worked for management first
Uh-huh.
at a different campus down the street. And then I worked for the internship program for a while. And then I got the job at,
Well, then COVID hit, and we had to talk you into,
To
might be a good time to
retiring.
change. You
She
were
was like, what, 90? 92?
I was, yeah, I'm sorry I left though. I could have stayed there till I was 1,000.
Yeah.
There was no question of having to go.
Well, I mean, technology, you might have a little.
But I was having, I could see that I wasn't as sharp as I should have been. I could see that. And even though I had a great job, but I could see that probably I'm not handling this the same. Which, you know, I could feel that and see it. So, but now when I think about it, I go, well, I'm sorry I didn't stay there, but I miss working a lot.
So what would you say if you had to pick your like 2 favorite memories of Long Beach? What would they be? I don't want to limit you.
No.
but,
I would say the people in Long Beach were very wonderful people, helpful, and growing up here was a joy. So it gave me a great childhood. I mean, even though at 10 you're sort of not a child anymore. But I think I don't have any bad memories about Long Beach at all. It's all a positive attitude, and I'm lucky to have lived here, because I never thought I'd get out of Brooklyn. I really didn't. But my aunt got a job. Petrie's, you know Petrie's Market, where that
The meat
was,
market.
right on Beach Street?
It
Well,
wasn't, it's not the real estate Petrie, it's
No.
a different Petrie.
It's the Petrie the
It was
butcher.
next to O'Rourke's.
It was a butcher shop.
Mhm.
But she was their babysitter in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And that's how she got the job. They said, we're moving to Long Beach. Would you want to be the cashier? She sat in the window there, everybody saw her.
She was a mainstay of
But,
Long Beach. She
yeah.
sat in the window and she saw everything that went on.
What was her name?
Anna,
Anna Capitale.
just Anna, that's all they knew her by. But she'd yell out, you want a piece of bologna? And then the kids would run in and get a piece of
That's
bologna.
funny, when I was a child, I remember going to the butcher shop and they would give me a piece of
Yes.
bologna.
Yeah, yeah.
They did that at Minero's too. You could
Yeah.
go into, when you went into the butcher shop, they would give you a piece of
Oh.
bologna. Marion, I just, we're approaching an hour. You must be getting tired, I don't know, but would you talk about the letters from George that
Army
chronicle World War II, or that you had
given to
say,
the Library of Congress, those letters.
Oh, my letter. I had my husband and I, honest to God, during the war wrote to each other every day. I don't know how he did, but he did. And I had boxes and boxes of mail, the letters. Now, I didn't want to dispose of them. They were letters from my husband overseas. So I had a professor at UB, and she said, why don't you give them to the Library of Congress, the Veterans Project? So I said, oh, I don't think they'd want those personal letters, you know. She says they would. So I wrote to them, and they said, we do want them, and send us everything you have, even greeting cards, because we send Christmas cards and whatever. So they have them at, you went and saw them, did you, or you did?
I did.
Yeah, we went together.
Yeah.
They have every letter in a
It's like
private,
cellophane.
glassine envelope, every letter, and there were hundreds. So we went one time to visit there, and they bring the letters out, but each letter, so we read about 10 of them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But so that's where my letters are.
How beautiful. Are they online? Can other people?
I don't think,
They're
no, they're not online, no. And if you want
That
to
would
see
be a
them,
good
you have to
idea.
call ahead, and then they'll bring out the letters. I mean,
So I guess they're used for like if people want to research history.
she said that, or sometimes even a movie. If they want to
Mhm.
make a movie,
and
they might review them to see what a soldier wrote about his life during
Mhm.
the war. And I'm glad I did that, because there were so many that, I mean, even if you left them to the family, they probably would never look at them. You know what I'm saying?
right. Where was he stationed? Where was he writing from?
Where was he coming
Where
from?
was he
no,
writing
was he-
from?
Oh, from, he was in France, and he was in Germany, the Mediterranean
Okay.
area, yeah. And we went back there actually to visit the family. They put the GI guys sometimes in their own homes, and we went back to visit that family.
But did they live with the family?
Yes, they lived with the family,
Right.
and we went back, and we didn't speak French, and they were from Alsace-Lorraine. We didn't speak French or German, and we understood each other, because they would show with their hands, this is where he wrote a letter at the desk, this is where he slept, and we understood what he was saying just by that. It was wonderful.
Well, that's wonderful.
And they
experience.
treated him, and when their daughter, little girl, their child was 5, and my husband became attached to her, and they sent us her wedding picture.
We can't thank you enough.
Oh, it was
It's-
great, I
It was
loved
an
it.
hour, but it seemed like
Okay.
only 10 minutes.
I'm
We could go
glad,
on
great.
forever.
I'm
But
glad that